check. A little bit more volume, please. Where'd she go? She left? Gotta get some more volume. Need a little more volume. A little bit more. Where'd you go? She just went. She didn't come up. And he's more. Oh, like wait. Mic check, that works. A little bit lower, a little bit lower. Mic check, that's perfect. Does this work?
Yo, Pedro, can I have Peter move a little bit forward? Like, no, to this side.
To the right.
Yeah, to the right.
Yo, I'm going to do it.
Huh?
Check.
Yep.
This one doesn't work.
No, it's good.
You would think I use these things every week. I know how to use them, right? Yeah, no. I think it needs another battery. All right.
No, I'm cool.
We need another battery.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Hey. Set it.
Boy.
All right. Works. All right. All right, you guys. Crypto Monday San Juan. Crypto Monday San Juan. Let me get a round of applause. Let me get a round of applause, please. Welcome everybody. My name is Pedro Rivera. I'm your host for Crypto Monday San Juan, and I got a very special guest in the house. Give him a round of applause. And man needs no introduction. Somebody's calling me. Put it on silent. You feel like it. Can't get shit past you, boy. This guy's smart. Anyway, Peter Schiff, y'all. He's here to talk some shit, y'all. Give him a round of applause. How are you, sir?
All right. So this is Crypto Monday. I've heard about it. You know, I've been here for a long time, and I've heard about it. So you guys, what do you just talk about how rich you're all going to be when Bitcoin moves? Is that what happens? You just get together and everybody here is going to be a billionaire?
No. What we don't do is we don't talk to all the gold imaginary friends that you have, because every time I see you with a bunch of crypto people.
That's because you only see me at crypto events.
All of your friends in Puerto Rico that happen to be Act 60 are all crypto people.
No,
that happens to be a select, crowd, right? But I don't see you with too
that's
many
because-
gold people.
that's
I
because-
met one today.
That's
But other
because
than that, like one. How many people in here are like in gold? Okay, like this is where this guy right here is how you got here.
That's because you can't afford to live in
Right.
Dorado.
You see?
That's the problem.
Right.
You got to step it up.
No, what he doesn't understand is that Dorado is not a part of Puerto Rico. That's where the white people live. It's very similar to like
I didn't even know
New York City.
I
live in Old San Juan, right across the street from the
Pedro.
Pedro. I have a dope big house that you would love, my
Pedro.
man. I know you got flavor.
I didn't even know you were black until I
I'm
just
not Puerto Rican, my man.
No, but then I heard you use the N-word like 3 or 4 times, and that's how.
Well,
I
you
mean-
see, I know for people like you, it's a bit tough to understand. As you can tell, we know each other. So give him a round of applause for my guy Peter.
I thought you were Puerto Rican. I didn't think you were black.
Alright, so where's my guy Henry? Henry, raise your hand.
Sounds like
Henry, I'm gonna point your happy ass out every time we get a guest in here worthwhile. Henry thinks we don't get any guests out here, so this one's for you, Henry. So I want to just take a little bit of time to kind of get to know you a little better, right? Just you obviously, although in a different asset class, you have a similar position to many of us who believe in diversifying and getting out of the U.S. economy and into a different type of asset. But let's talk first. How did you come to be the gold guy you are today?
Well, I mean, first of all, when you say I'm the gold guy, it's not like I just own gold. I mean, I understand.
You also talk shit about Bitcoin, but we'll get to that later.
Well, that's because Bitcoin is shit. I mean, but I know about gold because I
Shout out to $50,000 worth of shit today.
That only if you sell. You gotta sell. But I
Shit in gold toilets. Go ahead, continue.
so I understand gold because gold is money. It's supposed to be money. Legally in the United States,
This for you, man. You a hater.
it's the only thing that legally is money. Gold and silver are money legally in the United States. That's what is written in the Constitution, and that's the monetary system that the founding fathers put the country on. And we stayed on gold standard pretty much up until 1971. I mean, it wasn't a pure gold standard because it got debased in the 1930s with Roosevelt. But the dollar, initially the dollar was defined as a weight of gold. It was actually a measurement of a quantity of gold. That's what a dollar legally was. And, when the Federal Reserve was introduced in 1913 and we had Federal Reserve notes, the Federal Reserve note was an IOU for dollars. And dollars were defined as a weight of gold or a weight of silver. And so the Federal Reserve notes were actually not money. They were redeemable in lawful money, and that's what it would say on the note. But they were obligations of a bank, of a private bank, the Federal Reserve, to pay lawful money, which was gold and silver. And a specific quantity of gold and silver was defined as a dollar. And so I'm very familiar with money and monetary history of the United States. And I know why the founding fathers put us on a gold standard. It's not like they didn't have paper money in the 1780s, 1790s. They did. They had something called a Continental, which was paper currency, that was issued during the Revolutionary War. And yet that paper currency collapsed. Yeah, the paper currency collapsed, and the people that owned it lost about 90% of their money. So the founding fathers were experienced with inflation. They studied some of the inflations of the past, and so they didn't want the United States to have paper money. They didn't want the U.S. government that they had created with the Constitution to have the ability to create paper money. They wanted gold and silver to be money. So that's the monetary history. And I understand the damage that the government is doing to the economy, that it has done over the years. I do expect a eventual collapse of the dollar. I mean, the dollar has been losing value slowly over time. It's lost 99% of its value in the past 100 years or so. Because when the Fed was created, $1 bought I mean, you only needed $20 to buy an ounce of gold in 1913. Now you need $2,000 to buy an ounce of gold. Gold hasn't changed in price. The dollar's lost 99% of its purchasing power. But in the 100 years before that,
Seems like a recipe for success with Bitcoin.
well, I mean, that's a whole different story.
We'll get to that.
But, you know, in the 100 years before the introduction of the Federal Reserve, the dollar bought 20 ounce, you needed 20 ounces, $20 to buy an ounce of gold in 1813, and you needed $20 to buy an ounce of gold in 1913. You had 100 years of a stable dollar. But during those 100 years, prices went down. Goods and services were cheaper in terms of gold, so people gained purchasing power. But I do believe that we're going to have eventually a monetary crisis, a sovereign debt currency crisis. I think the nation is going to return to a gold standard. So I think that gold is, very underpriced. But, most of my money is not in gold. I don't look at gold as an investment. I look at it as money. And I look at, productive assets. So most of my money is in, real businesses. Either they're publicly traded companies or private businesses that I own. I own real estate. I own things that generate.
You own Bitcoin too. Tell the truth.
No, I don't
bro.
own any Bitcoin,
bro. I know you got Bitcoin. You beat up the.
Well, I mean, technically, I had some Bitcoin that was gifted to me, but they decided to change the wallets around, and my password didn't work anymore. I didn't have the seed phrase or whatever, so they're lost forever. If anybody can find them, they're in cyberspace. But it's only a third of the Bitcoin, so it's now it's it's $20,000 or something like that, or almost. But at the time I lost it. It was only about 7,000. So, but anyways.
Well,
but I was holding it. So
let's get you.
But I got it for free. It was all gifts.
Let's get you a little bit more into how is it that you came about with Euro Pacific Asset Management and you got so heavily fixated thinking okay.
Well, Euro Pacific Asset Management is the company that I moved to Puerto Rico in 2013. And I started Euro Pacific Asset Management as a side business because I owned Euro Pacific Capital, which was a broker dealer.
Can you guys turn the volume down? I think it might kill the feedback. It's too loud.
Yeah. So
Maybe.
yeah. So I own that broker dealer in the U.S., which I have subsequently sold. But I moved Euro Pacific Asset Management, which is a SEC registered investment advisory business, and I moved that here as well as all the employees that I had from California to Puerto Rico in 2013. And everybody is still here. So we've been here for 10 years. And when we first got here, not that many of you were here. But since we've come over the last few years, quite a few people have moved here, and it's improved. I mean, I think the best thing about Puerto Rico is the community and the neighbors that I have, and that's,
Best thing about Puerto Rico is the Puerto Ricans.
Well, woo! We're all Puerto Ricans now, so.
You Puerto Rican, you're almost there. 10 years here though, you've been here a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Puerto Rican.
That's right.
Puerto Rican.
I can't speak any Spanish, but I'm Puerto Rican.
You live in Dorado, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry, there's a lot of people in Dorado who don't speak any Spanish, you'll be fine.
But you figure my housekeepers would know English by now, but it really hasn't gotten any better.
They know, they just act like they don't. I wouldn't want to listen to your ass either. I act like I didn't speak English either. Trust me.
I'm hoping my kids learn Spanish though.
Hoping?
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be taking it to school, but.
Who knows, right? Alright, so we get down the road, we get Euro Pacific Management. How is it? Alright, so let's get a little bit more Bitcoin oriented, bro. Like, when did you become aware of Bitcoin and blockchain? And let me ask you a direct question. Hold on. Let me ask you a direct question. Do you know what blockchain and Bitcoin is?
Yeah, I know what it is. I knew about it before you knew about it.
I doubt it, but go ahead.
Well, did you know about it in 2009?
No.
All right, well, that's kind of when I found out about it. Or it might have been 2000.
Peter Schiff is Satoshi. I have found it. Peter strip is Satoshi. This is the secret. You guys don't know, but I just figured it out.
No, I remember when I was first told about it because there were people that, and I might.
That's why he bashes Bitcoin all
No,
fucking
I
day
might
long.
have got some campaign donations to my Senate campaign in Bitcoin, and I don't know what the hell happened to those Bitcoin because I tried to figure out because I know
you love
people
money
say-
so much, bro. Why you keep losing your shit?
I wasn't in charge of the finances.
You wasn't. You had other people in charge of your money.
No, I put in a lot of money. I spent over $1 million of my own money on that campaign. I could have just bought Bitcoin. It was like, I couldn't have bought. I could have just done that.
Okay.
As a waste of money running.
So this
for
was in
Senate.
2009.
10, yeah, 2009.
2010.
Yeah, Bitcoin. I don't remember if it was under $1 or if under $10, but it was
2010
low.
was under $1.
Yeah, it was low. I think I remember when it got to $1. And I was thinking, shit, I should have bought it because I could have sold it at $1. Because I remember.
So you still don't see anything wrong with not buying it at a dollar? You seem like a smart guy.
One of my main problem with Bitcoin when I first found out about it, because was that it didn't have any actual value. It's like, and my first thought was, well, what's to stop somebody else? Once they explained how it worked, I was like, well, what's to stop somebody else from coming up with another cryptocurrency? And now there's 20,000 of them, or more than 20,000. So I was right, because when I found out about Bitcoin, it was just Bitcoin. That was the only one. And then I remember they came up with Litecoin, or a few other ones came up, early on, even before Ethereum came on. There were some few other ones that came on. But I remember thinking, so what? I mean, you can just keep making them. There's nothing special about it.
Nothing special at all.
And then there's all these guys that that are in the guys that are in the other Bitcoin, the Bitcoin, BVS, whatever it's called, that think that's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right, and you guys have the other Bitcoin or whatever, but BTC and the other one because it forked off. But to me, there was. I learned about it, and I remember guys like a guy that works for me now was telling me just buy some, just what do you got to lose? Just put $10,000 in or something.
At $1.
Yeah, and I remember. Look,
Bro, that's like 50 mil, 500 mil. What's that? 500 mil.
Maybe I don't know.
That's 500 mil, bro.
Well, what's the odds that I would have kept it? I don't know. But
you would have lost the password.
But here's
for sure.
the thing, though. I probably would have put it at Mount Gox.
For sure.
But I threw away a lot more than 100,000. I put money in stupid things that went to zero. So
Your housekeepers love you.
So I could have bought it, but I remember, they were just go on and buy it, and I did not realize, back then that it could ever get to the level that this many people all around the world would actually believe in it.
Give me 60 seconds. Watch this. You know what double entry bookkeeping is, right?
Yeah, I'm familiar with accounting and debits and credits.
I'd
Yeah, I know
imagine.
that.
Okay, so all blockchain is in its purest form is triple entry bookkeeping. Debts, credits, and verification. That third entry, right? Verification entry. Over 51% of the network has to agree that this transaction happened, right?
I understand all that.
Listen, pay attention. Give me 60 seconds. I know you press the time. I know your time is money, but check me out. 60 seconds. Alright? Over 51% of this network has to agree that this transaction happened. Wallet A had a packet of sugar, it gave it to wallet B, it no longer exists in wallet A, it only exists.
Bitcoin had the utility of sugar, it would actually have some value.
I'm just giving you the value. Slow down.
Sweeten your coffee with sugar.
Slow down, sir.
Sugar is an actual.
Slow down, sir. Slow down. Pay attention. Just as double entry bookkeeping has its place, triple entry bookkeeping will replace that. Because double entry bookkeeping has been around for 500 years and it's a flawed system, right? Because you can't trust my books when you buy my business on Kendall. You need an auditor. You need somebody to check up on it. But if we have a decentralized, right, third entry, right, ledger that is accurate, proven to all of my transactions, all of a sudden now you can absolutely, all of my records are verifiable.
What's that to do with Bitcoin?
You're not paying attention. That's what I said 60 seconds for, sir. See, that's how I know you don't know what a blockchain is. And that's not your fault, because most people don't know. But the reality and truth is, I give it to you this way, I promise you you'll think differently. It's triple entry bookkeeping, sir.
Okay.
That third entry has to be decentralized, because if it's not, it's being made by the same party that made the first two entries. That would make it useless. Because now I'm verifying my own transactions. That's not going to work. And it has to be incentivized, because if it's not incentivized, no one's going to do shit for free.
But how much Bitcoin is used to verify transactions that have nothing to do with Bitcoin?
How much Bitcoin? Let me see if I understand the question. How much dollars are being used to verify transactions that are using dollars? So doesn't really
you're
make
trying
sense.
to sell me on Bitcoin.
No.
It's using the blockchain.
What I'm telling you is that the value of Bitcoin is in that decentralized triple entry ledger, because now you have something that, what does double entry ledger do? It happens to run this business and every other business and all of your businesses.
Well, what does that do with Bitcoin?
You're not paying attention. It's a better form of accounting.
No, you're talking about blockchain.
And
But Bitcoin's not blockchain.
slow down, sir. But listen now.
Bitcoin just uses the blockchain.
Oh no, but now Bitcoin is the name of the blockchain, right? But
Well, it's
now,
one blockchain.
of course.
It's
But
blockchain.
why is Bitcoin more important than the others?
It's not, exactly.
Let me answer it.
I know it's not a lot.
Let me answer the question, sir. Turn his microphone off,
You're asking.
Turn his microphone off, Devin. Give me my 60 seconds, Peter. Irony is his name's Peter, mine is Pedro, alright? This is funny. Which both of us means hard-headed, stone-headed motherfuckers, basically. But anyway, yeah. So ultimately, that is the value of the network, sir. The value is ultimately that you have this decentralized ledger that gives you better accounting than we currently use. You have 500 years worth of double entry bookkeeping, and this is a flawed system, right? But at the same time, 99% of the businesses in the world still use it, right? It's accounting 101. You're very familiar with it.
Well, who's using Bitcoin?
Who's using Bitcoin? Everybody raise your hand. Show them who's using
What are
Bitcoin.
you using it for?
Show them who's using Bitcoin.
What are you using it for?
So what you fail to realize, my man, is that the industry is still in its nascent phase, right? They're gonna get you any second.
I still haven't seen anybody use it for anything.
Who's back there? I can't see him.
Oh, wait a minute, I forgot. I used it for my ordinal.
Okay, calm down, sir. Calm down, sir.
Who bought my ordinal?
Like, we'll get to the question. Just chill out. But anyway, so let's just get back to asking you some more direct questions. So clearly, to me and anybody else who knows what a blockchain is, you obviously don't. So it's the use of the technology and applications has moving forward. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you and say that technology is like further along than enough to make an impact in American people's lives, right? Because American people, we have payment systems, banks, and currency that pretty much works, right? But if you go to other countries, right, where they're a little bit darker than you, right, where their currencies have failed, oh, they love crypto, homie.
Why?
Because their currencies have failed. So if you're Venezuelan, or if you're Colombian, or if you're Brazilian, and if you just experienced 20% inflation, and you're looking at it and you're like, my money's disappearing, what do you think they want to move it around in? Do you think they want to put gold bricks in their pocket, or a USB stick? There's various forms of that as well, and yes, when you have coins that are packed to something that obviously has applications as well, but make no mistake about it, that obviously gives more digital currency, more relevancy. So I want to ask you a little bit more about where do you see, because you clearly love to talk about how Bitcoin is going to zero. I mean, I've heard you say this.
Well, eventually.
Eventually, one day. One day?
I don't know exactly when.
One day. Not today, though, right?
If it goes to 100, that's probably close enough.
$100.
Yeah, that's probably close enough, right? I mean, if it goes to 100, you're pretty much wiped out.
If it goes to $100, I would advise you to put all of your eggs in that basket.
Really?
So I believe in ultimately, I understand the math, right? And I understand what you don't, which is triple and triple.
But you're willing to hodl to 100.
I mean,
Is everybody going to hodl to 100?
you'd be foolish to nosedive, right? If you're at $50,000 and be like, all right, cool, we're gonna ride it down to $100, right? But it's different than what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is a person who claims he doesn't have any Bitcoin. That if
I don't
if
claim
it
I don't have it.
went
I
down
don't
to
have it.
$100, like you said, you had the ability to buy it at a
Why
dollar.
would I, if I had any Bitcoin, why wouldn't I brag about owning them? I mean, I would have made a lot of money.
Why don't you don't like money?
Why would I hide it? That's the thing. The first rule about Bitcoin is you got to tell everybody you own it. You got to convince more people to buy. It's like that's what you do. It's like the Hare Krishnas. You got to convert people.
All right.
Nobody that owns Bitcoin doesn't tell people.
Hey, who's got some questions for Mr. Schiff? My guy back there, you was definitely hollering. What's your name, brother? You on. Evan, what's the question, sir? You forgot? We're past it. Luke. We'll come back to you, sir. Hold on.
Yeah.
Sir, hold on, sir. We'll come back to you.
What gives a financial asset value?
Hold on, bro. We'll come back to you.
Well, ultimately, any financial asset has value.
My brother, hold on. We'll come back to you, bro, please.
What gives a financial asset value is the generation of a return. So if you own stocks,
Hey. Please do not be.
so if you own
disrespectful.
a stock, the stock pays a dividend. If it doesn't pay a dividend, it's because it's reinvesting its income to grow its earnings so that it can pay a dividend in the future. So you're owning an income-producing asset. Same thing as a bond. A bond pays interest. Real estate pays rent. So all financial assets are basically a function of the ability to generate a return. That's why people invest in assets. Now, of course, the price on where financial assets today, a lot of them are trading at absurd prices based on unrealistic expectations of their future income potential, or where people don't even care about their income potential. They're just buying it because it's going up, and they assume it will keep going up. And that's kind of what happens with Bitcoin. You have the Bitcoin is attractive to a lot of people because they're convinced that the price is going to go up. And the way it's created with a so-called fixed supply of Bitcoin, to the extent that more and more demand comes in and the people who own it don't want to sell, the price has to go up. And so the more people who don't want to sell and the new people who want to buy, it's going to push the price up. And if buyers are attracted to that rise in price, then more buyers will come in. But eventually, anything that's built on that type of pyramid, Ponzi type chain letter structure is doomed to fail. Eventually, you run out of greater fools and the bottom drops out. There's nothing to support the price of Bitcoin, like there's rent to support real estate, or dividends to support stocks, or interest to support bonds. There's nothing behind a Bitcoin. Now you might say, well,
What are these bonds based on?
Between a commodity like gold. What supports gold is the industrial use for gold.
When you get a bank bond, right? Like,
Yeah.
when you pay for it, and what do you pay for it with?
What do you mean?
What do you pay for it with?
For a bond?
Yeah.
Well, if it's par, you're paying, face value.
So what the
$1,000 bond is $1,000
$1,000, right?
for a $1,000 bond.
Right.
Now, if the bond drops in value because interest rates went up, you could buy it for less.
So what are you paying for it with?
For treasuries, for example, you'd pay for it with dollars.
Not gold.
No, I mean the U.S. government sells treasuries for dollars, and they trade. For
You mean
dollars.
they don't sell it for the money that you claim is so much money?
Well, you have to sell your gold and then buy dollars and then buy treasuries, but I wouldn't recommend that.
You wouldn't recommend that, of course.
No,
not.
because I don't think the yield on treasuries is high enough to offset the risk of inflation eroding the value.
What do you think about the yield on Bitcoin?
There's no yield on it.
No yield.
Right.
Okay. Next question for Mr. Schiff. And I'll come to you over here in the corner. Give me a second.
Pedro, can you explain to Mr. Schiff the difference as to why Bitcoin is a special token compared to other tokens? And then for Schiff, can you just
I've
tell
known
us?
Peter for years. Peter doesn't give
Well,
a shit.
why isn't this Bitcoin Monday then? Why is it Crypto Monday? Why is
Easy, because there's other aspects to this, homie. We're not just stuck on Bitcoin.
Bitcoin includes all the shit coins.
No,
I mean,
no.
Crypto includes all those other coins.
I mean, there's a lot of shit currencies out there, right? It's not just U.S. dollar, right?
Oh, yeah, the US dollar's
Look,
good, so-
I mean, I take, dirhams, I take pesos, I'll take dollars, I'll take Singaporean dollars, Australian dollars, British pounds, euros, right? They all have different values, homie.
Well, they have value in that people.
And they all go up and down, isn't that special?
Yes.
And they all
Yeah, they're
have
all
fluctuation in price, don't they? And some of them even collapse and go to zero, isn't that special? Some of them are real shit coins, aren't they? Special, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that the current day system that you have, which you claim is money, right?
Well, I said gold was money.
Oh, I'm sorry. Which the world
Yeah.
has established as money. Because I agree with you. Everything you
Well,
said. is right.
they're money substitutes. But yeah, I mean, you can use a money substitute instead of actual money. But and money substitutes look like money in that they're a medium of exchange, unit of account. They still work.
Okay. So yeah, Peter doesn't care. Next question. I got like 15 hands, but I did ask this guy first, so I'll come back to you guys. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Just going
I'll come back to you.
I mean, I agree with the dollar, gold. I mean, why can't, isn't there something that's legitimate?
That pizza's for you guys.
It has value that we can all agree on and actually use and go to in the world. Like, isn't that what Bitcoin's for? I don't understand why are there so many.
Well,
Wait.
the thing about Bitcoin is, yes, the people in this room have decided that Bitcoin has value. And because you've made that decision, you want Bitcoin. It's an old-fashioned. I'll take a water too. But the problem is, believing something has value doesn't give it value. I mean, you can pretend all you want that Bitcoin has
Tell
value.
that to the U.S. government.
No, because the
They will
dollar.
beat some sense into you if you don't believe the U.S. dollar has some value.
No, it doesn't have any intrinsic value, but it has a market value because of the tradition that we all know that we can take a dollar into any grocery store and buy food. I mean, this is a bar here. Everybody is ordering drinks, and the owner of this establishment wants dollars. And so, if you want to get a drink, you need dollars. Because that's what they're selling for. And one of the main reasons that the owner of this restaurant wants dollars is because everybody that he has to pay wants dollars. His workers, his waitresses want dollars. The guy that owns the building wants dollars for rent. And the government wants their taxes in dollars. So you have all these people who are wanting or demanding to be paid in dollars. And so that's giving an intrinsically worthless piece of paper value. The problem is the government constantly increases the supply of those dollars, and so the landlord wants more rent. The bartender wants a higher salary. So prices keep going up. You don't have any real stability in price, but people still want dollars. They just need more of them because they keep printing them. But eventually, people lose confidence in the value of a currency. Yeah, currency. And that's what happens. Eventually, all these fiat currencies collapse because even though people want them now, they don't want to hold them because they're afraid they won't buy anything in the future. And so you destroy, it's the velocity that money just picks up because nobody will hold it. Everybody wants to get rid of it the minute they get their hands on it. But gold is a metal. I mean, a lot of these people, people in crypto, it seems to me that they know less about gold than they do about Bitcoin. That's where they seem to make even more mistakes because they keep saying, well, gold doesn't have any value. Gold has value because gold is a metal. It's an actual, tangible thing. Right? Gold is used. Half the gold is used in jewelry. And here I have a watch. Right? It's gold watch. I have a gold ring. It's not just a coincidence that jewelry is made out of gold. It's a very good metal for gold.
Do you know where the island named Puerto Rico
Do I
comes
what?
from? Do you know why they called it Puerto Rico to begin with?
Puerto Rico is rich.
Rich.
Gold? Dorado is gold, right?
No, the sailors, bro, when they got here, bro, they said they seen the boulders, bro, gold on the islands when they got here.
Right. Gold was a highly desirable commodity before it even
That's my
became
people,
money.
bro. We had it everywhere. It was to your people.
But what gives gold its value are the properties that it has that other metals don't possess. There are things that you can do with gold that you can't do with any other metal. Now there are some other metals that can do some of the things that gold does. It just doesn't do them as well. And so if you want the best metal, you'll buy gold. But if you can't afford to use gold because gold's too expensive, you'll substitute another metal, maybe a copper or something that's not quite as good, but for the money. But gold is an actual asset or actual commodity. But one of the things that makes it such good money, apart from the fact that it's it's divisible and fungible and portable and all that, is that it's indestructible, that it lasts forever, and that it doesn't deteriorate over time. It doesn't decay. Most commodities are going to wear out over time.
If the United States, God forbid, was under severe attack and shit went haywire, right? How many of them gold bricks you think you can carry with you and swim to Venezuela with?
Well, gold's not that heavy. I mean,
I'm just saying. I don't know how much you can swim with, bro, but I'm just saying. Like, I could take all my Bitcoin with me, no issue.
you can take all your Bitcoin. The problem is, what's it going to be worth when you get where you're going?
50K. How much is gold right now? What was gold's returns last year?
2,000.
Well, how long you been hollering 2,000 for, homie? I seen a bunch of your videos today, boy. Ooh, you been hollering 2,000 a long time. Do you make your people any money?
Look, I don't tell people to buy gold.
What does
rich.
Euro Pacific
Gold is
Asset Management do?
We manage money.
You buy gold and it just
No,
sits there and
we
makes
don't.
no bread.
Euro Pacific, we don't buy any gold at Euro Pacific Asset Management. We invest in stocks and bonds, not gold.
So
but now
stocks
we
are
do
gold
own some
companies.
gold stocks, but that's part of the portfolio. So it's not all the portfolio.
So what do you
But
think
yeah,
about?
no, Bitcoin.
What do you think about Bitcoin mining stocks? Shout out to Brittany Kaiser,
No,
Griffin
well,
Mining. They went public. I don't know if she's here. She was supposed to be here, but she should be here somewhere. But if not, what do you think about publicly traded
Yeah, again,
mining
it's,
stocks?
they're all going to zero. I mean, there's just a question of time.
Yeah.
They're mining
Who's
nothing.
giving them the money to manage? Is this what you're telling people?
Sure, if they ask me.
Oh God.
But no, I wouldn't. I mean, all this Bitcoin mining stuff.
I feel like you're doing your people a disservice at this point if you're not open to digital assets. I mean, at some point you gotta what do you think about ETFs?
I'm open to actual assets if you want to digitize them to represent ownership, so you can more easily transfer ownership. That's fine. But
security tokens are a problem, bro. You gotta talk to your people over in the government. I know you're not down with the government. That's not true. But we got the problem. Is the United States government has
I don't see Bitcoin as a digital asset.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I would. Let's say there's digital food. I wouldn't consider that to be food. Or a digital house. I wouldn't consider that real estate. I mean, it's.
What is a digital asset to you if Bitcoin isn't?
Well, I mean, I suppose if I had music, people could listen to it and sing along and dance to it. I mean, it could be digital. I can own it.
What about a unique copy of an album, or maybe one of 100 of them?
But there's no way to have a unique copy because anybody can copy it. Any music you can see. But if you own the legal claim to it and you could sue somebody if they infringe on your copyright, then that's an
So
asset.
there's something called NFTs, sir, right? And I know this is a strange concept for you because you probably think it's
No.
funny pictures.
I launched one. I did a Bitcoin ordinal. Does anybody own one of my Bitcoin ordinals? Golden Triumph?
Did anybody own one of Peter Schiff's Bitcoin?
They sold at an auction. You can go to what's it called?
We have to launch one together.
No, I already launched
We gotta
one.
launch another one. A Crypto
Why don't you?
Mondays version.
No, it's on. It's on.
No.
What is it? Genie Magic? What's the name of that website? Magic Eden. There's a few for sale. I saw them. You should buy one. You could use your Bitcoin. They're not for me. I don't have them. But people that bought them are reselling them. You just don't get the original
Where's
print.
my next question at?
But I know I created an
Stop, young lady in the
ordinal
front.
before Trump did. I created one. And I tied it to a real print.
I believe you. I believe you.
Peter,
Yeah.
Peter, my question to you is on macro. We both know that we've been waiting for the commercial real estate world to crash. It seems to be crashing significantly now, which should bring down a lot of the banks, so we should be into another banking crisis here. How do you feel on the macro of what's coming,
Yeah.
and when does the shit really hit the fan?
Yeah, I've said the banks are in worse shape now than they were when they failed in 2008. The commercial real estate is part of it, and it's mainly a lot of the regional banks that are stuck with these commercial loans, where the real estate is worth half of what it was when they made the loans, and the borrowers don't want to repay. They'd rather just mail in the keys than roll over the debt, because the properties are half empty, they're not cash flowing anymore, rates have gone up. But the other huge problem for the banks is all the mortgages that they own, all the US treasures that they own, that they acquired when interest rates were 3%, 4%. And that was a great deal for the banks when they could borrow from the Fed at 0. So the banks were borrowing for 25 basis points and loaning out for 30 years at 300 basis points, so they were making money. But now they're borrowing at 500 basis points and they're stuck earning 300 basis points. So all the mortgages that used to generate income are now generating losses. And so the banks are basically insolvent. And the bet is that, well, the Fed is going to be able to lower interest rates to prop them all up before they collapse. But they can't do that without, reigniting inflation. In fact, the flames have really never gone away. They've just been dimmed a bit. But there's no way for the Fed to try to return interest rates to a level that would render the bank solvent without inflation exploding. And so that is, the predicament that the markets don't perceive yet.
How the fuck do you know all that? Don't know it's good for Bitcoin, bro.
Well,
The fuck are you drinking?
could that cause people to buy Bitcoin? It might.
Like,
Anything might.
if you didn't know he was a Bitcoin hater and you heard him say all that, doesn't it sound like he's arguing for
look
Bitcoin?
at how many articles, so I responded to some guy on Twitter, right? Somebody said something. And they said, well, Bitcoin's going to go to 1 million or something like that.
Sure.
And I said, well, I guess if we have Weimar Republic style hyperinflation, sure, it can go to 1 million, because who cares? Everything's going to go to 1 million. And like I read, like the next day, there's like hundreds of articles written. Peter Schiff says Bitcoin's going to 1 million. So the price of Bitcoin can go up under the right circumstances, but in real terms, it's not. But yeah, could Bitcoin go up? Sure, but I have a hard time thinking. Look,
You have a hard time thinking? I'm not
thinking that
surprised.
Bitcoin's at 50,000, but 3 years ago it was 65,000. Right? Was the high.
69.
69, even higher. What
All-time
happened?
high approaching soon, y'all.
Yeah.
I
So
see you.
Yeah,
All-time
but-
high.
yeah, but
They can't come
what
soon.
drove it up there? Right? It was, you had ever on the Super Bowl ads. You had Venezuela, not Venezuela.
Venezuela.
No, that's not Venezuela. What is it?
El Salvador.
El Salvador, right? Wrong Spanish.
Yeah,
El Salvador.
Del Brown,
You had the NFTs. You had the 4 Super Bowl ads. You had all the celebrities jumping on the bandwagon. You had nonstop crypto ads. Although the ads are back now, they're hyping the NFTs. The ETFs. But you had all kinds of hype. Everybody was buying Bitcoin. And the high then was 69,000. I can't see it getting even back up there again. There was so much selling of Bitcoin back
You
then.
can't see it making 60. What do you have, an optometrist? What's going on?
No, you got the ETFs now, right? That was
What do you think about the ETFs? Let's hear it.
for years. Everybody was telling you gotta buy Bitcoin because eventually there's going to be an ETF.
Right?
Well, now they got the ETFs. They got a dozen of them. So now what? Now there's ETFs. What the hell's that going to do? Huh?
Next question. What you got back there, Danielle? You got something?
Not a question.
I can't hear you. What you
In
got?
fact, the ETF defeats the whole purpose of Bitcoin.
I'm sorry?
The statement of fact. Two Bitcoin ETFs and more volume than the
2 Bitcoin ETFs have done more volume than the gold ETFs today.
I don't doubt that.
So what's your explanation?
People are
Juan?
trading. People are trading these things.
Custodianship.
But who knows? But look,
Custodianship.
Wall Street created these things because they saw it.
You don't mind being wrong about Bitcoin.
I'm
You're
not
like,
wrong.
fuck it. You
No,
just
no,
keep
no.
on going deeper and deeper. You told me you had the ability to buy at $1. Bitcoin
Yeah.
hits 50K today.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you know, it
Yes,
doesn't
I could have
matter.
bought it at $1.
You know.
That doesn't mean I'm going to buy it at $50,000.
I mean, but I
Watch
mean,
on the sidelines when it's 500 and then 5 million.
yeah, I agree.
Why would it go to 5 million?
Because you can't see
It's
the
called
money,
math.
my friend.
I know math is like something you probably don't do. No
It
more.
already made
Accountants
the
and
big
shit.
move, right? You guys have to understand that the guys that are hyping this up are the people that bought it. I don't think they got it at $1, but they probably got it at 100, 200, 300,
Okay,
400.
all right.
So
You
big
just
money
told-
came in.
Peter,
They're
no.
trying to get rid of it.
Peter, listen.
They got you guys totally.
Institutional funds, right?
No, they're not. They're not.
They have a lot more money, right, than retail. You're aware, right?
And they're not gonna bite on this.
They've already bid on it, big
Yeah.
chunks. And they're gonna continue to bite more and more of it. And they
Yeah.
bite and they buy and they don't
Look,
sell. They buy
I
and they
recognize there's a lot of dumb money in those institutions, but they're not that dumb.
Okay, he says all institutions dumb. Next
They're not
question.
gonna
Anybody
take
else
all
got
that.
over here in the front?
Follow up on your macro comments. What do you see for the back half of the year?
Bitcoin going to zero.
No.
Apart from, I think we've had enough of maybe the fights on the Bitcoin, I don't know, but.
He's not. Are you serious?
Everybody's entrenched, they have their position, so I'm interested in what Peter's seeing in the macro world for the back.
Well, the macro backdrop hasn't changed. I mean, we've just been, pushing a lot of air into this bubble, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think the underlying fundamentals of the economy are terrible. I mean, the debt is off the charts. The government, the federal government, the debt is like 34 trillion. Household debt is at an all-time record high. Savings are at an all-time record low. Everybody is continuing to spend borrowed money. People are working multiple jobs trying to make ends meet. I mean, it's all just this gigantic bubble. Our trade deficits are horrific. So it's, I think now that interest rates have risen, we've accelerated the collapse because all the debt that was taken on is now maturing and having to be refinanced. And so the interest rate cost is exploding. And at what point, what is the straw that breaks the camel's back? Right now, the U.S. government is spending just over $1 trillion a year in interest. Soon it'll be $2 trillion a year on interest, then $3 trillion a year on interest. I mean, at some point, it has to break. You can't spend that much money on interest. And of course,
What do you think the price of Bitcoin's going to do?
as our creditors begin to worry about that, they want their money back. And so it's not just we have to pay the interest, we have to repay the principal. And there's just no way to do that. So this whole thing, look, we're living in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico had its own financial crisis a few years back, where Puerto Rican bonds collapsed. But in the years leading up to that, Puerto Rico was borrowing all kinds of money. And people were dumb enough to lend them the money. And it was obvious for years that Puerto Rico could never repay the debt. But no one cared. They just kept loaning them money anyway. It wasn't until interest rates moved up because people started to worry, hey, maybe Puerto Rico can't pay these bills, and people wanted their money back, and then interest rates rose, then the whole thing collapsed and they had a default. So the only difference between the United States and Puerto Rico is the United States has a printing press and Puerto Rico didn't.
They have
But
military.
the military's got nothing to do with it.
Oh, shit.
Because we can't afford the military if nobody wants our money. But right now, people are not worried about U.S. defaulting because they know we have a printing press. But eventually, they're going to start worrying that we're going to use that printing press. And once they start worrying about that, then it's over.
Next question. Over here.
So, Peter, what do you think about the demographics of a gold buyer who's probably 60 plus and a crypto buyer that's probably 20 plus? what's going to happen in 10 years?
We're gonna lap the field on y'all.
Well, I don't know. Bitcoin will be around in 10 years, so we'll see.
Out with the old and in with the new, baby.
The biggest buyers right
We're gonna
now,
lap the field on y'all.
the biggest buyers of gold are the central banks, other than industry. So it's not like the 65-year-olds are even buying that much gold. They're not. But I do believe that a lot of 20-somethings who are making the mistake in buying Bitcoin, by the time they're 30 or 40, they won't be buying any more Bitcoin. They would have lost too much money on Bitcoin.
Next question. He's just here to talk shit, y'all. Go ahead. No, not you. I'm talking about. Go ahead. You didn't even say that yet. Go ahead. Man.
How do you feel about Executive Order 6102 sent by FDR, which made it illegal to quote-unquote hoard gold and bullion, and all the gold was seized from U.S. citizens during the Great Depression?
Yeah.
Think something
Well,
like that could happen again?
How did you feel back when you was a professor in college and FDR gave this order?
yeah, well, I'm not quite that
I
old.
mean, I wasn't around then, but I'm just saying, how'd you feel when that happened?
Well, first of all, so no gold was actually seized during the 1930s. The U.S. government basically told people to turn it in, but nobody was actually jailed for not turning it in. They didn't send soldiers to people's homes, like shaking them down and looking for their gold. It was kind of the honor system. So a lot of people didn't turn in their gold, and of course they were better off, because when Roosevelt asked everybody to turn in their gold, he gave everybody $20 for each ounce. And then once he got the gold, he devalued the dollar, and now the gold was $35 an ounce. So the smart people didn't turn in their gold, and they made money. But is it possible that the government is going to
You have the US dollar?
outlaw gold again? Is it going to do that? Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. I think it's a lot more possible that they'll do that with Bitcoin. And it's a lot harder.
You know how this shit works, bro?
Yeah, I know how it works. But the government can make it illegal to own Bitcoin.
Bro, China made it illegal.
Yeah.
It don't matter. The government can do whatever they want. They can't stop decentralized ledgers. They can
Well,
do so on
if the
centralized.
government makes it illegal, then the ETFs have to go away. None of the banks will deal with it. You can't, it'll be an on-ramp without an off-ramp, so you're gonna have to stay in Bitcoin. But the thing is, if you use your Bitcoin on the internet, the government's gonna be able to track it down. Right? They can see these transactions. It's a public ledger. I mean, what if the government said it's the death penalty if you're caught with Bitcoin?
I want all you alphabet.
How many people are gonna want it?
I want all you alphabet boys on the internet watching us to know that he's absolutely right. We can't move it without you guys knowing.
I don't think the government is going to outlaw Bitcoin, but I think it's more likely to outlaw Bitcoin than gold.
Next question. Over here.
First of all, thank you for being here in a room full of knives. Appreciate it.
Give a round of applause, Peter Schiff. Come down and talk his shit, man.
So my question has more to do with motivation. How much of your holdings in gold is physical or paper versus
How many gold bars you got over there?
No. That's not how much versus mine. Relative to each other.
Well, I actually happen to have a lot more money in gold mining stocks than I do in physical gold. I mean, I think physical gold is a lot more conservative, and I have, a decent amount of money in physical gold. But I have a much larger position in gold stocks. I mean, I probably have one of the largest private gold stock portfolios. I mean, most institutions don't really have any gold stocks at all.
That's because they don't make no money, bro.
They don't make
money. They got a responsibility to make money for their
you
usually don't give a shit. You clearly just telling people, give me your money, I'll put it in gold.
Look, I like to own assets that other people don't own. I like to own assets that are out of favor. I like to own assets that are underpriced. And so I have a lot of money. But when you own these gold mining stocks, you actually own the gold that those companies have in the ground. So I own a lot of gold that's still in the ground. And the leverage that I see in the mining stocks is that, for the last 10 years, 15 years, this gold price has gone up. In 2000, the price of gold was under 300, and now it's 2,000. So it's outperformed the S&P gold, physical gold, since 2000. But
you want to know what Bitcoin has done in the past 10 years?
Forget about Bitcoin, right? But mining companies, gold mining companies, are not making more money today at $2,000 gold than they were at $300 gold, because the cost of mining has gone up. Inflation has driven up these costs. But I think that we're going to soon see gold prices rising much faster than the cost of mining. And that's going to create significant value for these gold companies, because the gold companies have a lot of reserves that the market assigns zero value to, because Wall Street believes that in a few years the price of gold is going to be much lower than it is right now, and so it's valuing these reserves really at zero.
We got one more question.
But when gold, like I expect to make, not just 10 times my money on a lot of these gold stocks, but 20, 50, 100 times my money. So,
like so many good gold stocks. Go ahead.
Look, there's a lot of gold stocks. I don't have to pick on myself. I moved Adrian Day out here, who manages our gold portfolios.
So he's the guy that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows the gold stocks. He knows the right ones. And he manages my gold fund, the Euro Pacific Gold Fund. We separately manage accounts. And then I have all that. I manage a few $100 million of other people's money in gold stocks, in addition to the tens of millions that I have myself. I don't have hundreds of millions. I have tens.
I'm not the feds, bro. You don't got a lot of me. I've been to your
I
house.
have a lot of money in gold.
I've been to your house, bro.
But most people don't have gold.
I've been to your house, bro. I'm not the feds, bro. Stop it. All right. So anyway, next question. Let's get it over here. Mitchell. Does he look El Salvador?
What about El Salvador? If Bitcoin keeps rising, they'll almost break even. Aren't they in and around 50, 60,000? What?
Did they buy their bonds to start their company at $10,000 Bitcoin?
El Salvador, El Salvador didn't get into Bitcoin until it was 50, 60,000. It's about.
You don't got no problem just spitting this shit out.
No, I remember when they did that. I remember when.
Did you hear how many people said no when you said that?
They weren't buying at 10,000.
30.
It's
okay. It's okay.
No, that's Michael Saylor was in around.
It's not
30.
the last time he's gonna be wrong.
No,
next question.
Michael Saylor was in before El Salvador.
Back there.
No, I mean, if I threw away some money on Bitcoin, how would it affect me? No, I guess not. But I just don't feel a reason to
had the opportunity to buy Bitcoin at $1. It's 50K today. He still doesn't see the reason why we should buy this thing.
Do I wish I bought it at $1? Of course.
Do you?
Well, I'm not an idiot. Of course I wish I bought it at $1. Don't you wish you bought it at $1?
I'm trying to be nice right now, Peter. You just left me a wide open layup, so I'm leaving alone.
No, but of course. Who doesn't wish they bought Bitcoin at $1?
Next question in the back there.
Did anybody here buy it at $1?
Plenty of people here. I'm not going to tell you that. Next question. No more questions? Right, last question. Perfect. He's over here.
What?
Silver is better than Bitcoin, of course, to him.
What? Just about anything's better than Bitcoin, but no, silver is half of its record high. Gold is pretty much right near its high. Gold is now traded for something like 42 days in a row, trading days above 2,000. This never happened. So gold is now building this base above 2,000. I think it looks pretty solid. Silver is less than half of its high. And in fact, silver was at $50 in 1980. Now, silver went from $1 an ounce in 1970 to $50 an ounce. Now, I'm sure the people that were buying it in 1980 at 50 didn't expect it to be half that price, 50 years later. So it shows you, things can go way up and then they can go down. So a lot of people are very excited about Bitcoin because it's 50,000. But it could be a tiny fraction of that, 10, 20 years from now, if anybody even remembers it 10, 20 years from now.
Peter, what would it take for you to admit you're wrong?
Clearly not Bitcoin hitting 50K.
About what?
Not 100K, not 500K, not $1 million. About Bitcoin, what the fuck else?
About Bitcoin?
Yeah, no.
Well, you know, I've told people, if I come into this bar and I get a menu and all the prices are in Bitcoin,
that's what it'll take for you to do wrong.
And they want Bitcoin. They want me to pay my bills in Bitcoin, right? And if everything is Bitcoin, right? It's the money that's being used as a medium of exchange and as a unit of account. If that happens, then I guess I was wrong. Right? If Bitcoin can actually be a digital currency, if it can actually be money.
Do you want to get on a plane with me? I want to take you to some places where else
Where?
in the world.
No,
Not just in El Salvador, man. Other places in the world. Don't worry. I can show you a bunch of places. You seem to have moved to Puerto Rico and threw your passport in the garbage because you seem to talk from a very American-centric.
They don't even
mindset.
use this money in El Salvador.
There's so many places where Bitcoin is being used right now. You have no idea.
Now this is being used to trade.
No, it's used to go back and forth in a lot of different places. In Southeast Asia, man, there's a bunch of places, man, where Bitcoin Cash's network is huge, right? There's a bunch of places in Africa where you can't move like money back and forth unless it's in blockchain. You are
People in Africa aren't going into the market and buying food with Bitcoin.
They're not buying food in Bitcoin. They're buying other things. They're trading actual goods.
So they're using it to barter for certain goods.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
right?
that
So
doesn't
it's
count.
a lot more stable than a lot of African world countries. You live in a world where your currency works. Your payment
It
system
doesn't work. It's not a good store of value.
But you don't realize that there are plenty of other places in
Yeah,
the
but
world.
for those people, they'd
The
be better
US
off. They'd
has
be better off with a stable coin.
350 million.
They would be better off with a cryptocurrency
World 8
backed
billion.
by something.
Right?
Backed by something, not
Well,
backed by nothing.
Again, this is your opinion. I've tried to
No.
make you understand the value of a network. You clearly don't see the
But you
value
can
of
have
a
a
network.
network without Bitcoin.
You-
And you can have a network where the crypto token is backed by a real asset.
Yes, sir.
It's called a stable coin.
Next question.
And the best stable coin would be stable to gold.
The US dollar is backed by a broke government.
U.S. dollars backed by the might of the U.S. military. Bottom
Now look,
line.
I'm not a big fan of like
No, he's not.
Tether or that type of coin, but a crypto token backed by gold, that has the potential to work. It's only governments that get
You're gonna
it.
make a Euro Pacific token?
No, but I probably will. There's two things that I'm probably going to do. I'm probably going to have my own gold-backed token that I'm going to be behind, and a gold ETF that will be able to be, owned, and kind of people can buy it through a wallet and have a debit card.
All jokes aside, I'm in on both of them.
But I can have a gold ETF and a gold token.
I'm in on both of those. Those are gonna be both.
But they're
that I
not
guarantee.
going to, they're not going to go to the moon. They're just going to do what gold does. But they're going to be able to function as a medium of
But
exchange.
what it's gonna do is it's gonna bring a lot of the call it the guys that move a little slower in life, right? It's gonna bring them more into the market. The people that still.
But I know, look, a
use the
lot of
WhatsApp
people
on their
are
phone,
excited about Bitcoin because it's gone way up.
Right? If you still don't know how to use your phone right, it brings some of those people over. But yeah, let me get one last question for Mr. Schiff and we're gonna wrap up. Nobody? Perfect. Let me get a round of applause for my guy, Mr. Peter Schiff.
So how did you guys do Crypto Monday? They have football on Monday night.
I don't care about football. Plain and simple. Easy.
Should have Crypto Tuesday.
I make Mondays a thing, y'all. We'll be back every Monday night here, 7 to 10 p.m. Crypto Mondays. Stay on. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week, y'all. That's all I got, people. We can kill a microphone. Put the music back on.
Pedro. Pedro. Let me get a picture of it. That was la cámara.